Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living. Today is our Sunday celebration service, and we are so pleased to have you all join us via Facebook Live or by Zoom. My name is Carol Cross, and I'm one of the practitioners here, and I am so glad to have this experience with you today. So I'm starting with a few announcements. The Triangle Center for Spiritual Living is pleased to announce a live streaming concert by the Offbeats to benefit A Place at the Table, a local pay-what-you-can cafe that provides community and healthy food for all, regardless of means. During this time of COVID-19, more people than ever are showing up in their doors in need of food. Unfortunately, while in normal times patrons can volunteer in exchange for their meals, that just isn't possible right now due to social distancing and other health standards during this pandemic. A Place at the Table also recently expanded their space and their menu, although it's still takeout only for the present time, to provide even more meals to our community. So let's support them in their quest to ensure that meals are available to everyone during these difficult times. The Offbeat, a local college student band, will be playing a variety of summer-oriented classic rock songs that are appropriate for the whole family. All ages are invited to join us. The band is playing on a love offering basis. A $10 donation covers the cost of one meal. How many meals can we provide through contributions this evening? Even if you can't tune in on July 29th, which is this Wednesday at 7 o'clock, please consider making a donation by mail or online. So donations by mail, please make your checks payable to TCSL. The mailing address is TCSL, 4000 Bearcat Way, Morrisville, North Carolina, 27560. And there's also a place on our website where you can donate by PayPal. So thank you in advance for your contributions to our summer outreach project. All right, so next month, it's our favorite time is coming around again. It's lunch bunch time. So the lunch bunch for August will take place next week, August 2nd, about 10 minutes after the service ends, so we think around 12:10. And so you make yourself your meal or your foods, and we all get together by Zoom and catch up with what's going on with our lives, but in a safe and healthily distanced way. Okay, join us during August for a very special month of Sunday celebrations, services, and workshops. The theme for the month is Inclusivity in Action. On Sunday, August 2nd, Reverend Rafe Ellis will grace us with his presence and his wisdom as he gives us his talk, Come On In, the Water's Fine. Reverend Rafe Ellis is the senior minister of the Sierra Center for Spiritual Living in Grass Valley, California, and a member of the CSL Diversity Inclusion Commission. On Sunday, August 16th, join us as the Reverend Darrell Jones makes his way back to the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living after a long absence. His talk is titled Colorblind or Colorful. He will also be doing a virtual workshop immediately following the celebration service. So there'll be more information on that to come. Then on Sunday, August 23rd, join us as Penelope Gardner and Jack Denniston of Braver Angels share with us wisdom around depolarization. Their talk is called Let's Come Together and Feel All Right. They will follow up the talk with a free virtual interactive workshop from 12:15 to 1:15. This workshop is entitled Skills for Bridging the Divide. It will be facilitated by Sandra Brickhead and Dan Fagan. They will take us through a series of exercises and exchanges in a safe space to gain confidence, to be better, braver, and bolder within difficult political conversations. So lots to look forward to. But what we have to look forward to right now is our service. And so I would like to invite our loving practitioner, Heather Abbott, up to be our platform host for the day.
Thank you. What a warm welcome. Thank you. Our theme for 2020 is 2020 Spiritual Vision. Our July theme is Untethered Spirituality. Reverend Dusty's talk title today is Free Yourself. I'm now going to read this community's purpose statement. This is our reason for being here. Our purpose is to inspire, educate, and empower individuals to experience themselves as unique and individualized expressions of God, the love intelligence that governs the universe. We are committed to not merely a theoretical understanding of our oneness and unity with God, but to consciously practice this truth in our everyday lives. Through celebration, service, study, and fellowship, we are committed to the transformation of our personal lives and to being a powerful and beneficial presence on the planet. With the energy of unconditional love, simply, we are here for God. Now I would like to invite you to center yourselves. Close your outer eyes if you're comfortable. Turn within and allow these healing sounds to wash over you.
So I invite you to begin to bring your attention back into your bodies and into your rooms and stay turned within as I speak a word of blessing upon our celebration service. How sweet it is to be able to take a moment to remember that which is back of all of our moments. The power and presence of the divine. That benevolent, ever-present, always available energy that has no circumference and points of center everywhere. I know that I am one of those points of center, that I was created by it out of itself in a moment of unconditional love. And just as I know that that is my truth, I know that it is the truth of each and every person here with me in the sanctuary today, each and every person on Facebook Live or on Zoom, each and every sentient being on the planet. We are connected together by this divine thread of God stuff that weaves itself throughout all of life, supported, guided, guarded, and loved. And it is from that place of unity that I bless our time together today. I know that it is a divine appointment that God is having through and as each of us, individually and collectively as the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living. I know that it flows with grace and ease from beginning to end. That each and every person involved is bringing their highest and best to everything that they do today. And through their depth of consciousness and their love of this community, they raise each and every single one of us up, inspire us, and love us. I bless Karen daily as she brings her gift of song Mark Daly and Heather Abbott and Madison as they anchor the service. I bless Heather and Carol as they bring forward their practitioner consciousness to really hold down this service in the highest and best way possible. And I bless everyone in attendance, knowing that this community is a divine idea in the mind of God, and that we have a purpose on this planet, and that we are saying yes to that in really wonderful and powerful ways, and that we are doing it together, united as one. And so I know that all is well, that today is a good God day, and this service flows from beginning to end magnificently. And we anchor this together simply by saying, and so it is. Amen. It is now my privilege and my pleasure to welcome back to the podium licensed spiritual practitioner Carol Cross.
Hello again. All right, we're going to start with the blessing of all faiths. So the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living honors the diversity and threads of truth that run through all spiritual paths, as represented by this ceremony. Christianity is the path of Christ consciousness, love, and forgiveness. Buddhism is the path of compassion and understanding. Judaism is the ethical path of living by sacred law. Baha'i is the path of unity and peace. Islam is the path of submission to the will of God, the highest calling. Confucianism is the path of deliberate tradition. Taoism is the natural way, the path of ultimate reality. Native American practice and shamanic traditions are the path of primal spirituality. Shintoism is the path of tribal ancestry. Hinduism is the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. Science of mind and spirit is the path of the divine principle of love and law. And the heart represents the one heart, the one love that resides at the center of all people and all beings everywhere, with no exceptions. May peace prevail on earth through the followers of all paths. And so it is. Thank you, Heather. Okay, the reading for today is from Michael Singer. He says, to attain true inner freedom, you must be able to objectively watch your problems instead of being lost in them. Once you've made the commitment to free yourself of the scared person inside, you will notice that there is a clear decision point at which growth takes place. So I know we're looking forward to that. So if you would, please close your outer eyes again for just a quick moment as I say a word of blessing among those serving us today. So once again, I breathe in the one power, the one substance, the one energy, the one everything, the one. I breathe it in, and as I breathe it out, I affirm that I am part of the oneness of spirit, which means that I am truth and beauty and love and peace and joy and abundance and all good things. That is who I am. That is who we all are. Those who are participating in this service, those in our community, those in our planet, in our world, in our everything. We are all one with that divine spirit of goodness. So today, I say a word of blessing on Reverend Dusty as she becomes this golden hollow bone to bring manifest the wisdom and the love and the essence of the divine spirit, knowing that she is the perfect person to deliver the words that will uplift us all this morning. I say a word of blessing on Karen Daly, whose beautiful voice is a manifestation of the angels reaching us with their wisdom and their love in their own special way. And I say a blessing on us all for this wonderful event. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for everything that is going to make today service be just a changing moment for all of us. I release this into the law that always says yes, and invite you to join me with our anchoring words, and so it is. And so now, let me introduce the beautiful and talented Karen Daly.
Thank you, Miss Carol. Good morning, everybody. I miss your faces. I miss your hugs. I know it'll happen soon. In the meantime, I was doing my usual routing around and came across a new group and a new song for today. It's a group called the Jesus Culture, which is apparently sort of a Christian rock kind of band. So I've taken some severe liberties with this song so that I could do it by myself and acoustically, and it is simply called Freedom. Step out of the shadows, step out of the grave, break into the wild, and don't be afraid. Run into wide open spaces, graces waiting for you. Dance like the weight has been lifted, graces waiting. And where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom, there is freedom. And where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom, there is freedom. Come out of the dark, just as you are, into the fullness of this love. For the Spirit is here, let there be freedom, let there be freedom. Bring all of your burdens, bring all of your scars. Come back to communion, come back to the start. Run into wide open spaces, graces waiting for you. Dance like the weight has been lifted, graces waiting. let there be freedom.
Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. Couldn't have been a better song to choose. Thank you. I know that they are proud of the liberties that you took and grateful that you did their song such justice. So my guess is this, that everyone listening this morning would agree that life has a flow to it. That haven't we all experienced both ups and downs, or times of relative ease and times of struggle in our lives? The bottom line is that these natural ups and downs can generate personal growth, or they can generate personal fears. How we view these natural ups and downs is determined by how we view change. Our lives are constantly changing. In fact, that's one of the only constants that we truly have in our lives, is that things are always changing. Some of us experience change as something that's very exciting, while others of us experience change as something that can be very frightening. Now, if we view change as fearful, we will try to create a world that is predictable and that can be controlled. We will do whatever we have to do in order not to feel that fear. When we feel fear, we can do one of two things. Now, the first is to recognize that we have that fear and to work to release it. The second is to keep the fear and try to hide from it. Many of us typically choose the second, and we keep our fear and then spend the rest of our lives trying to hide from it. When we keep it, we attempt to create safety and control by defining how we need life to be in order that we should not have to feel that fear. Big problem. Life will not always be exactly as we need it to be. There will be some events and some changes that will challenge our best laid plans. When that happens, we experience life as a struggle, a battle between life and ourselves. When that happens, we feel like life is not unfolding like we would like it to. When that happens, we feel like life is not behaving like we think it should, or other people in our lives are not behaving like we think they should. In actuality, our attempt to protect ourselves from problems or challenges or struggles or change actually creates more problems. We spend all of our time and energy trying to control or to manipulate life, or constantly worrying about or waiting for the next shoe to drop. We spend all of our time and energy being competitive with others, or jealous of others, or disturbed by others, or being afraid or fighting with everyone and everything in our life. We spend all of our time and energy trying to figure out how to keep things from happening and what to do because they did happen. This is a fight with life itself, and it's no way to live. In fact, we will never be able to fully live if we continue to fight with it. The alternative is to decide not to fight with life. Once we decide not to continue to fight with life, we now have to face the fear that is within us, the fear that was causing us to fight in the first place. The good news is that it is possible to live a life without this constant experience of fear. We don't have to keep it inside of us. In his book, The Untethered Soul, Michael Singer uses the analogy of having a thorn embedded in our arm that is actually touching up upon a nerve. Every time that thorn is touched, it's very, very painful. Other people might touch it. We might roll over on it in our sleep. Tight spots become a problem because we might brush up against something or someone. Every hug or every embrace could be a potential disaster. The thorn is a constant source of pain and disturbance in our lives. To solve the problem of the thorn, we have two choices. We can leave the thorn where it is and work to keep others or other things from touching it, or we could take the thorn out. If we decide to keep the thorn in our arm, we have to realize that protecting it will become the work of our lifetime. The thorn will completely run our life. The thorn will affect all of our decisions, including where we go, who we hang out with, who is comfortable hanging out with us. It will determine where we work, what kind of a house that we're able to live in, what kind of a bed that we can sleep upon. The analogy of the thorn can actually represent anything in our lives, such as loneliness, or rejection, or body issues, or fear of failure or success, or worthiness challenges. Really, anything that can cause fear or a struggle or pain. With inner thorns, we also have the same two choices available: keep them or remove them. Just like the outer thorn in the analogy, we would have to spend our entire lives protecting ourselves from feeling the inner thorns if we decide to keep them. And just like the outer thorn in the analogy, we would be truly free of them if we were to remove them. In attempting to protect ourselves from feeling the pain of the inner thorn, we may avoid doing things, or avoid situations, or we may choose to use people or places or things as protective shields. But this does not take care of the root of the thorn, and in fact usually creates other problems or other issues related to the thorn itself. For example, let's say that our inner thorn is loneliness, and we meet someone. This person may relieve our immediate thoughts and feelings of loneliness. However, we will begin to have worries about the relationship because we don't want to lose the relationship, because then we would, in all probability, run the risk of feeling the feeling of loneliness again. So now we're worried about what to say, or what to do, or what to wear, or how to be. And the underlying tension and discomfort that we feel, although it may feel different than the thorn itself, is just a superficial covering over the original inner thorn of loneliness. The root problem is now buried under a bunch of shallower issues that are all about avoiding the deeper ones. It's all very complicated. Ultimately, as always, we have a choice in the matter. We can continue to compensate or protect ourselves from the pain of our inner thorn, or we can simply remove the thorn and not continue to focus our life or center our life around it. I don't know about everybody else, but I don't want to live my life with a thorn in my arm that I have to protect, and I don't want to live my life with an inner thorn that ends up running my life. The bottom line is that we do not have to live this way. The invitation is to look within ourselves, to the core of our being, to recognize the inner thorns that we may have within us, and to decide that we are not going to let the weakest part of ourselves run our lives. We can choose to be free. So the question becomes, how can I free myself? The short answer is that we free ourselves by finding ourselves. Last week, Ruth talked about being the witness. When we talk about being the witness, what we are saying is that we are the ones that is noticing the pain. We are the ones that are noticing the thorn and not the pain or the thorn itself. When we find ourselves and absolutely know that our consciousness is separate from outer things and from inner emotions, we can set ourselves free. In order to free ourselves, we have to stop and notice the thoughts, and we have to stop and notice the emotions. We then have to recognize and remember that if we are noticing the thorn, and we are noticing what we are doing to protect ourselves from it, then we can't be the thorn. We can't be the external behavior that we are doing to protect ourselves. We are the witness. That is awareness. That is consciousness. When we can stay in that witness consciousness, the more we will be able to stay centered and balanced in our lives. When we can stay in the witness consciousness, we will learn that it is okay to feel those inner disturbances and yet no longer let them actually disturb us. We can feel them and let it go. We can feel them and say no. When we can stay in the witness consciousness, we will begin to experience and be sustained by an inner flow of energy from deep within us. When we can stay in the witness consciousness, we will begin to learn to appreciate that all of the difficult experiences of our lives are truly opportunities to notice those inner thorns, to notice the root of the problem and to begin to let it go. It is the only way that we will ever truly be free. The prerequisite to true freedom, according to Michael Singer, is that we decide that we do not want to suffer anymore. We decide that we do not want to suffer anymore. We make that choice. We decide that we no longer want to bear the burden that we have been bearing. We decide that we no longer want to carry the inner weight that we have been carrying. The inner weight is that fear of experiencing pain, that fear of experiencing struggle or anguish or loneliness or sorrow or rejection, to name just a few of the inner emotions that we do not want to feel, that we avoid feeling at all costs in our lives. This is the suffering that the Buddha talked about. Most people don't even know how much they're suffering because they've never known a moment when they were not suffering. This suffering doesn't come to us because of the world. It doesn't come to us because of external circumstances, but because we are involved in a minute-by-minute attempt to stop suffering. Because we are involved in an attempt to control our environment to avoid suffering or worrying about suffering in the future. All of this is going on inside of us. We are constantly thinking about our psychological well-being. We are constantly thinking about ourselves all of the time. How we can avoid this, how we can get around that. Our minds are constantly trying to fix our problems. The challenge, however, is that we very often try to fix our inner problems, our inner issues, by moving around all of the external pieces in our lives from one place to another place. But the truth is that external changes are not going to solve our inner problems. The external changes do not address the root, do not get to that underlying cause, that pain at the core of our hearts. But the good news is that we can live a life free of suffering, free of fears and our needs to control them. We just have to stop. We have to stop telling our minds that it is its job to fix all of our problems. When our mind starts up and begins to race in that monkey brain kind of way that it can only do, telling us what we should or shouldn't do in order for the world to match our preconceived notion, just stop. Stop listening. When our mind starts telling us what we have to do to make everything okay, just stop. Stop buying into whatever it says. Michael Singer says, the truth is everything will be okay as soon as you are okay with everything. And that is the only time you will ever be okay. We just have to stop and decide that we don't want to feel those fears, don't want to have our whole life be revolving around this idea of avoiding pain or avoiding disturbances or avoiding fear. We just have to decide that we want to enjoy our life. We just have to choose to be free. Let's say something in our life changes. If we can just sit with the inner disturbance for a moment, that inner disturbance that we feel, we will be able to face those inner disturbances. We will be able to notice where they are coming from and begin to face that, where they are coming from, and we will be able to get to the layer of pain that is deeply seated in the core of our hearts. We can get to the underlying belief, the underlying feeling tone. That underlying belief or that underlying feeling tone is our psychological pain. This is the pain that we have spent our entire life avoiding, spent our entire life protecting ourselves from feeling. This is the pain that radiates out from our heart and affects everything that we say and do. Everything that we say and do is about the avoidance of this pain. Every time we do something in the name of avoiding that pain, that something becomes a link that becomes and holds the potential for the pain that we are avoiding. Our attempt to avoid the pain has created layers upon layers upon layers of sensitivities that are linked to that hidden pain. To live a different life, a life of freedom, we must be able to get to the root of the pain at the core of our heart. In order to live a different life, a life of freedom, we must not be afraid of inner pain and disturbance. To live a different life, a life of freedom, we must look inside of ourselves and determine that from now on, pain is not a problem. The key is to be able to experience something that causes a disturbance and to recognize that that disturbance passes and that we can choose to let it go. We can handle a feeling. It is just something in the universe that is passing through us. It's not who we are. It's just a feeling. The invitation is to laugh at it, to have fun with it, but not to be afraid of it. It cannot touch us unless we allow it to do so. The invitation is to keep our hearts open, to not pull back or to close down, but instead stay open and to let the disturbances and the pain flow through us. It will feel very foreign and perhaps uncomfortable in the beginning. We will want to pull away and to close down and to resist, but every time that we do that, the pain stays stored within us. On the other hand, if we are able to stay open and relaxed, a piece of the pain goes away forever, and we become free. This too shall pass. A piece of the pain goes away forever, and we become freer and freer and freer. I've told this story before, but I told it really quite a long time ago. And it's the perfect story to tell, so please just bear with me and know that you're hearing it, a different you than you were the first time you heard it. A number of years ago when I was in high school, really a lot of number of years ago, when I was in high school, I worked as a lifeguard for the school system. I worked during the summer and a couple of nights during the school year, guarding the lives of the swimmers that came to swim in the high school swimming pool. At the end of the shift, the other lifeguards and I were responsible for cleaning up the pool and the surrounding pool deck and even the locker rooms. So one evening as we were doing so, I noticed a golf ball sitting at the bottom of the pool in the deep end. It was actually sitting right on the drain. I dove into the water and headed down to the bottom. As I approached the drain, I reached out my hand to pick up the golf ball. Now, not even really thinking much about it, I went to pick it up like this, like this. Not like this, but like this. And my little finger went into one of the holes on the drain. You can imagine my panic. Do you remember that thing called the Chinese finger torture or the Chinese finger puzzle? It was like, if you remember, it was this colorful arrangement of woven bamboo into a tube that was open on both ends that would trap the fingers of the unsuspecting person that happened to stick their fingers into the two ends of that tube. When our fingers are caught in that Chinese finger puzzle, our initial reaction is to very quickly pull our fingers outward, but this only tightens the trap. So the harder we struggle, the more resistance we feel. Let me say that again. The harder we struggle, the more resistance we feel. Having my finger caught in the hole of that drain was just like that. The harder and harder I pulled, the more intensely I was stuck. Now, I knew that the other guards were not in the pool area because they had gone into the locker rooms to clean up the locker rooms, and so I know that no one was aware of my situation. It felt as if I had been struggling for hours, and I knew that my ability to hold my breath would not last much longer. I was bound by my circumstances and couldn't see a solution to my problem. My life flashed before me. With nothing else to do, I relaxed and I let go. And as I relaxed and let go into that present moment, allowing what was to simply be, my finger slid out of the hole with ease and with grace. I could have saved myself a lot of struggle, a lot of grief, a lot of fear, a lot of worry, a lot of sadness, a lot of pain, and a lot of doubt by simply relaxing and letting go in the first place. In that moment, I learned the truth that was already in my heart. I can choose to free myself. From a practical standpoint, I'm sharing 5 behaviors that we do, all of us, that we are encouraged to let go of in order to free ourselves. Number 1, obsessing about the future. Letting go of the future doesn't mean abandoning our goals or our dreams. This is about letting go of our perfect expectations of our perfect future. The future where everything goes exactly according to plan. As Joseph Campbell says, we must let go of the life that we have planned so as to accept the one that is waiting for us. Number 2, dwelling in the past. The past is over. Get over it. There is no amount of rehashing it all that will make the pain or the regrets less weighty. The invitation is to let go of the hurt and relax into forgiveness of ourselves and others so that we can live in the present beautiful moment. To embrace our life and our happiness from this day forward. Number 3, encouraging negativity. The world needs less critical and negative people. Being around negativity and being personally negative leads to more of the same. We just attract more of that negativity into our lives. The invitation is to make some changes in our own attitudes. Become available to seeing the glass as half full rather than half empty, and in the process, becoming willing to let go of the people in our lives that cannot do the same. Freeing ourselves from the pain of negativity. Number 4, allowing self-criticism. The invitation is to let go of listening to our inner critic. We all make mistakes. Failure is learning. And none of us will ever completely live up to our ideas, those perfect ideas of who and what we should be. There are many ways to be and to live in the world, and none of them are inherently right or wrong. And lastly, number 5, keeping the unessential. The love of stuff. Incessant busyness and unfiltered obligations are 3 unessential things that we need to let go of immediately for a freer life. When we junk up our lives with the unessential, we are junking up our consciousness and sabotaging our freedom and our peace of mind. Then it might seem really rather paradoxical that the more we relax and let go, the more powerful and free we become. Like water that is soft and yielding, we have strength and endurance beyond what we can even imagine that we have, beyond what we can measure. Without entanglements and struggle in our lives, we are free to reveal our creativity. We are free to consciously and mindfully create the experiences of our lives. As we stay in the present moment and enjoy life as it is, we open to ever more goodness in our lives. When we do this, we are unbotherable. When we do this, we walk through our lives with vitality and vibrancy and an inner bliss. When we do this, we are free. And so it is. So it is. So I just invite everyone to close your outer eyes and to turn within. To allow ourselves to turn away from the world of form, turn away from our obsessing about the future and dwelling in the past and encouraging negativity and allowing self-criticism and keeping the unessential in our lives, and turn to that inner side of life, that presence of the divine within each and every single one of us. The place that I know to be the very essence of peace, of joy, of creativity, of abundance, of love, grace, and of freedom. I know that I am one with it. that it is who and what I am at my very core. And despite any circumstances in the outer world around me, it is who and what I can return to every moment of every day, in every arena of my life. It is always there. It is always available. And just as I know that this is my truth, I know that it is the truth of each and every person within the sound of my voice, each and every person on the planet. We are all divine emanations of the divine, ambassadors of its presence on the planet, holograms of it. Right where we are, God is in its fullness and in its wholeness. And it is from that place of unity that I speak these words about and for each of us today, individually and collectively, as the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living. Knowing that we are spiritual beings having a human incarnation. And despite anything to the contrary, we are free. That despite anything to the contrary, we have everything within us to move through all of the experiences of our lives with grace, with magnificence, with power. And so I claim for each of us today that those moments of feeling pain or struggle or disturbances, those inner thorns that we all have within us, can be let go of when we recognize them and investigate that which is underneath them and shine the light of truth upon them, recognizing that we are the witness and not the thorn or the feeling itself, but knowing that the feeling will pass, that it is simply something that is passing through the universe and flowing through us, and that we can allow it to do so, knowing that we will survive, that this too shall pass, and that we have more than enough power and endurance and wisdom and courage and love to move through everything and anything. And I'm so grateful to know this truth and to speak these words. So grateful for the power of prayer, knowing that these words are loosed into a law that only ever says yes. That my words are clothed in form even as they are spoken. And so I speak them and release them with love and gratitude and full expectation of their manifestation. Letting go and letting God be God. And I invite everyone to anchor this prayer for themselves, for each other, and for our community simply by saying, "And so it is, and so it is." Amen. Amen. Thank you all. It is now time for our conscious giving. And so I would just love to invite you to take a moment to be grateful for all of the abundance that we all truly have in our lives. And to know that as we are grateful, we actually generate more to be grateful about in our lives, that gratitude is totally generative. And to know that as we are willing to share of some of our abundance, that we powerfully step into the flow of life, that giving and receiving are one and the same. I'm grateful for these gifts, however big or small, knowing that they continue to allow this community to do what we do in the world. Continue to allow this community to be a beacon of light and warmth and love in the Greater Triangle area. Continue to prosper the ones that are giving and continue to add to the experience of sufficiency on the planet. So please repeat after me. I'm grateful for all that I receive, and I'm grateful for all that I give. The text to tithe number is on your screen. Easy way to be able to give back to your community. Or if you would choose to do otherwise, you can always go to the website, and up in the upper right-hand corner of the main page, there is a Give button. If you push on that, it will also allow you to be able to tithe to this community that we are all stewards of. So I'm grateful. Thank you very much for your giving of your time, talent, and treasure, and for joining us today. It is now my pleasure to welcome back the awesome, magnificent, and wonderful Karen Daly.
Thank you, Dusty. All right, we're going to wrap this up by a old school classic by Mr. Curtis Mayfield.
People get ready, there's a train coming. You don't need no baggage, you just get on board. All you need is faith to hear the diesels humming. You don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord. So people get ready for the train to Jordan, picking up passengers from coast to coast. Faith is the key, open the doors and board them. There's hope for all amongst the love of lost. Yeah, there's room for us all, even the hopeless sinner who would hurt mankind just to save his own. And have pity on those whose chances grow thinner. Well, there's no better place than the kingdom's throne. So people get ready, there's a train coming. You don't need no baggage, you just get right on board. All you need is faith to hear the diesels humming. You don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord. You don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord.
Thank you, everybody.
Oh, thank you so much, Karen. That's just, your music is always so beautiful. It's always makes the day. Okay, so I know we can't get together physically, but that doesn't mean that we aren't there for everyone in our community. So if this wonderful talk you just heard, if that's really inspired you to uncover and let go of some inner thorn, we invite you to contact one of our practitioners and get some assistance in setting yourself free. So if you'd like to do that, on our website, if you go under leadership, there's a place we've got the practitioners listed, and if you click on their picture, it will bring up their email. And so use us. That's what we're here for. We also invite anybody who would like prayer. Maybe once you get rid of your thorn, you want to have a prayer of thanksgiving. So we do have a spot on our website at trianglecsl.org, and on the home page, there's a button in the upper right-hand corner. So you just click on that, and you fill in your request form, and then we pass it out to all of the ministers and practitioners, and we will be praying for you all week long. So, all right, so now, in the comfort of your home, it is time for our July affirmations for the last time. So remember, as Dusty said, it's not the words that matter, it's the feeling. So it's worth it to get yourself off of the couch, get out of bed, so give it that energy, that these words with that energy can change your life. Okay? So it is a call and response, so I'll read it first and then repeat after me. Today, I choose to live a life of freedom.
Today I choose to live a life of freedom.
I choose to drop the shackles of what holds me back and ties me down.
I choose to drop the shackles of what holds me back and ties me down.
I acknowledge that there is one power and first cause to all things.
I acknowledge that there is one power and
First cause to all things. This power expresses itself in me, through me, and as me. This power expresses itself in me, through me, and as me. My freedom springs from the awareness that this is the truth of me. My freedom springs from the awareness that this is the truth from me. I know and live in this divine freedom in every arena of my life. And I live in the divine freedom in every realm of my life. I make no secret of my connection with the divine. I make no secret of my connection with the divine. Every day I take action to share this freedom with the world. Every day I take action to free this freedom with the world. I give it freely from within the liberation of the human family. Freely from within for the liberation of the human family. My freedom is the awareness that all things live together for the good of all other things. Freedom is the awareness that all things live together for the good of all other things and for the greater good of life itself. And so it is. Okay, so we're going to close this with a closing video, so make sure to stay for that. But before that, please close your eyes just one more time for a final prayer of benediction. So, closing my closing my eyes, I notice my aura is shining even brighter than it was earlier today. And I know that that's not because my essence has changed, because my essence is God, and God only has one mode, and that's 100% on. But I know that these words and this music and these rituals and ceremonies and this connection has helped me clear away some of the obstacles I sometimes put up between me and my true self. So now I see clearly that I am one with the source of all. I am with the light that shines through everything and everyone. And that light is good and bright and beautiful and free. And that brings me joy and peace and all good things. I know that is me and my truth. I know it is you and your truth. I know it is the truth of all things everywhere, no exception. That's just how it is. So, standing there, I am just so grateful. I'm grateful for the power of this community to assist me and to assist us all in stepping up to a higher level of our divine truths. I'm grateful for all the people who made this today possible. I'm so especially grateful for Reverend Dusty and Karen Daly. I'm grateful for you all to be part of co-creating this service with us. I'm grateful for everything. And so I carry this gratitude out into the day, knowing that every moment of gratitude is a moment of God. And that is my day today. That is your day today. That is the life that we are creating together. So it makes me excited to just get on with it. So I'm just going to turn all of us over to the law that always says yes and ask you to join me in saying, "And so it is."